segment 3, as Mark said, and now we're into the BOS, which is the Business Operating System. And the first part of our engine that runs our business, our lives, the very fabric of who we are, is the DNA for People and Personality Masteries. So we're excited to have Cheryl from Tanglewood, who's part of the HR department, who runs the HR department, and she's going to be giving us an overview of the DNA for People and how it applies for creating client-for-life relationships. Go ahead, Cheryl. Cheryl, if you're talking, you're on mute.
I am on mute. Okay. Thank you for the introduction, Kevin. Sorry.
Go ahead, Cheryl. No worries. DNA for People.
Knowing people's personalities helps with all the relationships you have. In this presentation, I will be using the word customers, but it actually has many different meanings. It could be team member, could be boss, could be friend, could be husband, could be wife. Because you want to create a client for life with all those people, I would think. I am not going to be able to tell you today in 10 minutes how to make your customers clients for life. It is the culmination of having systems in place where you have learned to generate more and better leads. You have become able to convert the prospects faster. Once you have had the relationships, you've been able to ask for a large quantity of referrals. Now, the next step in the dance you have started is to raise the bar when it comes to customer service. Give them value. Through this dance, you will have learned that the personalities are very integral in building the relationships that create clients for life. Each different personality type has its way of communicating and want to be communicated with. It is important that you speak and, more importantly, listen in their personality language to be able to gain their trust, to make them understand that, to help them, that you really understand them. The analytic likes to have this system in place because it gives them a roadmap to follow. They like to have their I's dotted and their T's crossed, which makes them a bit slower, but they get things done. If things aren't in order, their mind is blown. Give them a task and they will blow it out of the water. Ask them to deal with people and you will have a problem. The driver relies on the analytical to produce the system so that they can steam ahead at a fast pace because they can see the end much better than any other personality. Like the analytical, they are more comfortable with tasks versus dealing with people. You will need to watch out for this type of customer so that they don't run you over. They may not mean to, but they may. The expressive loves to have fun, and that can also be a problem because the fun will interfere with getting the tasks done. We tend to live in the present with gusto and want to bring other people with us to enjoy the ride even in bad situations. The amiable also relates easily to people like the expressive. Please do not create any conflict with them as they will not like you if you do. We are nurturers and tend to put others before us. Moving slowly is in our nature, especially when it comes to tasks. I mentioned in the beginning about bringing the customer value. How do you do this? Let them know that you are there for them beyond selling them something. Find out their life vision and what their greatest challenge is. Listen carefully to Rosanna in the next segment on systems to use to track your customers' visions and challenges. Give them value by linking them with others with the same vision and challenge, like the cluster principle says. Learn of personalities, become a chameleon at moving between all the personalities to be able to mimic your customer to create that client for life relationship. Step into your analytical personality to help those that aren't analytical get a system in place. Give them a list of follow-up steps to take. But make it fun for the expressive, big picture for the driver, and relational to the amiable. Help a fellow analytical make a decision. My husband has a life vision, but his analytical gets in the way of accomplishing the step towards it. I step in to push the decision to help him move to the next step. For example, he wants to be able to grow crops, to be able to help the less fortunate. In order to do this, he needed a tractor. He was researching the ideal tractor, which led him to nothing for the past 2 years, the principal ideal or nothing. This year, I pushed him to purchase a tractor, and now he is one step closer to his life vision. Use your driver personality to help those that aren't a driver see the bigger picture of their life vision. Help the driver you are talking to see an even bigger picture, if possible. Help the analytical get out of the weeds of details. I personally have a hard time with this with my expressive, amiable, analytical personality. I get into the details too much and miss the goal of seeing the big picture. It means something to me that I am helped in this weakness of mine. Learning how to be expressive can help the driver see people over primarily tasks. I'm pretty sure you need people to accomplish your life vision, so that a better way to help them relate with a little bit of fun associated with it will probably get your life vision accomplished faster. The same goes with how to help the analytic. Get their noses out of the books and get them out and have fun to relieve some pressure. I am that ever optimistic person and find the good in almost all bad situations and express it to help others see things differently, to help them turn their way of thinking into something different. If you step into an amiable personality with others, it will help you connect with all their other personalities by being able to relate to their families. With an amiable, relationships come naturally. Help the driver and analytic build the relationships that they will need to reach their life vision. Since you have learned the amiable hates conflict, you may be able to use other personalities to help them resolve the conflict in ways they had not thought of. What better way to relate with your customers on an ongoing basis than to bring them joy with their life vision and ease their pain by helping them solve their biggest challenge. Don't just make the sale, get the job completed, and forget about them. Keep touching them to keep that client for life relationship going. Does anyone have any questions?
Cheryl, I have a question. What's the single most important thing you can think of in how you create a client for life relationships when it comes to personalities?
The biggest thing, I think, is being able to relate to them in their primary personality. That way you can connect one-on-one with them and be able to just get the personal connection going, because you understand them. If you understand them and how to talk to their personalities, then that's a bridge, that you've walked over, and it's hard to walk back from.
Right. And so if I don't know what my client's personality is yet, and I'm just discovering this for the first time, what's the best way to find out who I'm talking to and who their personality is?
Well, that's a good question, Kevin. There's a test you can do. You can find out there are 4 shapes. You can do, put them in order: a cube, a pyramid, a squiggly line, and a ball. If you ask them to put them in the order that they like the most, then that will tell you their personality. The cube being the analytic, the pyramid being the driver, the squiggly line being the expressive, and the ball being the amiable. You can also ask, there are 4 questions to ask to be able to find out, even more about the personality. For the analytic, it would be things not being done properly, things being out of control. For the driver, things being dull and boring would be the expressive, and things causing conflict for the amiable. If you ask them to put in order what causes them the most frustration, this will tell you their personality also.
Excellent. Thank you, Cheryl. We really appreciate your participation. Thank you for preparing a wonderful theme for us here for the DNA for People and how it relates to client-for-life relationships. We're going to move on to segment 4 right now. So we're in the middle of our BOS system, the Business Operating System. We just heard from Cheryl with the DNA for People, the Personality Masteries. Now we're going to hear from Rosanna Boersma and the 530 Grid, which is the DNA for Business. And I'm so excited to have Rosanna on. She has been fantastic in heading up the Awesome Women's Group, which meets every single week. So, Roseanne, take it away and give us the 530 Grid and how it relates to client-for-life relationships.
Thank you, Kevin. I noticed that Nicole had a question. I didn't know if she still wanted to do that or not.
Sure. Go ahead, Nicole. Jump in.
Oh, sorry. All I was going to say was ask Cheryl was, so how do you work with a client who's opposite of your personality? So, like, I'm a chameleon, but I'm a deep analytic. So if I were to go with someone expressive, how do you work with a client that way?
You would have to learn a different personality. So if they're expressive, you got to make them have fun, and you have to learn that personality. You got to learn how to have fun in order to have that relationship with them.
So then would it be safe to say in sales it's important to learn and live sort of all of the personalities, be able to understand how to balance the two and sort of go into a different personality when you need to, or at least tolerate it, per se?
Yes, I think it's important to know all the personalities, yes, to be able to move within all of them, to be able to speak to your customer, your clients, you know, to be that chameleon.
Okay, got it.
Thanks, Nicole. That was great. Cheryl, thanks. I appreciate
like,
that.
to give you an example, I'm an expressive. If you come in and give me a sales pitch, the last thing in the world you want to do is go through an hour with the details. Because after 2 minutes, I'm going to be on the phone, I'm going to be doing emails, and you're going to figure out real quick you lost my attention. Does that make sense? You got to sell to the personality. Yeah. If I go into an engineer's office and I'm going to sell him something, I'm going to have my facts, my details, my all the other stuff ready because I know that's what he's going to want.
Okay.
So you got to prepare your presentation to the personality.
I got it. It makes sense.
Thanks, Ed. That's a great point. That's exactly right. Appreciate you sharing that.